we got Fabio Wardley and Nick Webb fighting on Fight Camp number 2 on August 7th. On the same card, you're going to have Kid Galahad versus Jazza Dickens. That's top of the bill. Florian Marcus fighting, and Alan Babbage. And I'm going to be perfectly honest here, people. The only two fights that I'm really excited for and interested in on this card are the heavyweight fights. And I'm not talking about Johnny Fisher versus Josh Sandland at all. That could be somewhat interesting because Josh Sandland has pulled off some, little minor domestic upsets in the past. So Johnny Fisher versus Sandland. Fisher, I'm not sure how much amateur experience he had. I don't think he had much. Sandland can be an awkward character at times. I know he hasn't had many fights and his record doesn't look great. And I don't know how motivated he's going to be for this fight, but he can be a bit awkward. Josh Sandland, I've seen him fight a few times. So, yeah, I'll definitely watch that. But the two fights I'm most interested in are, of course, Alan Babbage versus Mark Bennett and Fabio Wardley versus Nick Webb. Now, with Babbage, it's not so much about who he's fighting. It's just about the fact that Babbage is back. Again, I love watching Babbage fight. He is my favorite heavyweight. I'm not saying he's the best heavyweight at all. I'm not saying I'm picking Babbage to go all the way and become a world heavyweight champion. None of that. I'm just saying that he's my favorite heavyweight because he's the most entertaining heavyweight for me personally. I find him tremendously entertaining. The whole character, the way he fights, it's 100 mile an hour from the first bell. So I'm looking forward to Babbage versus Bennett. But Wardley versus Nick Webb will probably be a better fight, I'm going to imagine, than the Babbage, Mark Bennett. I haven't really seen much of Bennett. But looking at his record, you don't really have much hope for him against Babbage, but we'll see. Wardley against Webb is intriguing to me because Webb looked really good in his last fight against, was it Pfeiffer? I expected him to lose that fight. So the fact that he won was surprising enough, but the style in which he won, the manner in which he won was even more surprising because he just blasted Pfeiffer out the water. Yeah, it wasn't even competitive. He just steamrolled him. So really impressive. For me, that was the most impressive performance of Nick Webb's career. The way he took out Pfeiffer. So, yeah, really impressive victory for Nick Webb on the White Povetkin 2 undercard. Fabio Wardley fought on that same undercard against Eric Molina, and he had a tough time. He got wobbled. He was having issues with Eric Molina's counters. Eric Molina's always had decent boxing skills. I said that before the Fabio Wardley fight. He's always had decent boxing skills. The issue with Molina's always been his lack of intestinal fortitude. That's always been Molina's issue. Even more so, some people would say he doesn't have the greatest chin. I would say his issue is more a lack of intestinal fortitude than chin. I'm not saying he has an iron jaw or anything, but he just doesn't really have much fire in his belly. But he does have some decent skills, Eric Molina. Not saying he's elite, not saying he's Tyson Fury or Alexander Usyk, but he does have decent skills, and Wardley found that out when they fought. So a shaky performance for Wardley until he got the knockout, but a real dominant performance by Nick Webb on that same card. Put these two guys together, I think it's very, very interesting. Based upon their most recent performances, I would actually favor Nick Webb, to be honest with you. The thing about Nick Webb is he has shown some punch resistance issues in the past against Kamil Sokolovsky. He was knocked out in that fight against Dave Allen. He was knocked out with one punch. So, yeah, there's punch resistance issues there for Nick Webb. Wardley does have decent power. Will he be able to get to Nick Webb's chin before Nick Webb gets to his? That's the question. I slightly favor Nick Webb in this one. I do. But applause to Fabio Wardley for wanting to step up and take this one, because he comes from, I believe, the white collar circuit, Fabio Wardley, because I was unsure about his amateur background. I heard he didn't have any amateur fights. Perhaps he didn't have any if he fought all of his fights on the white collar circuit. They're not really officially amateur bouts. So, yeah, interesting that they've decided to go for this Nick Webb fight right now. despite the fact that Wardley is very inexperienced. And it's not like Nick Webb is a great heavyweight or anything, but he certainly can punch. There's one thing you cannot deny about Nick Webb, and that is that he can really crack. He's definitely a good puncher, and his last performance is going to give him a lot of confidence, and it's going to give him a lot of momentum. I'm expecting Nick Webb to come out very aggressively against Fabio Wardley. Yeah, I'm expecting him to, in his mind, think, well, Wardley isn't that experienced. He looked vulnerable against Molina, so I'm going to come out just like I did against Pfeiffer and stick it on him. So I'm really looking forward to this one, people. Leaning towards Webb slightly. You know, prior to Webb's victory over Pfeiffer, I may have actually favored Wardley. Yeah, I may have actually favored Wardley prior to the Pfeiffer fight. But the way Webb looked there, the confidence he had, and obviously Pfeiffer took the fight on short notice, I get it. Wardley's going to have a lot more time to prepare than Pfeiffer did. I'm taking that into account. But I'm also taking into account the lack of experience for Wardley. You know, the size of Nick Webb. Wardley's a pretty small heavyweight. Nick Webb is a very big heavyweight. And when I just weigh everything up, the experience, the most recent performances of both men, the size, I don't know, I slightly favor Nick Webb. Slightly. I want to say 55-45 I'm favoring Nick Webb. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide range of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&A sessions, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got a Discord server where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. There's no contract, no commitment, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.